There's a quiet little town tucked between wide fields and rolling hills. It doesn't have big malls or fancy buildings, but it has something more important: a deep respect for its past. In the center of town stands a military memorial. It's not huge, just a few stone walls and bronze statues, but it means everything. The names carved into the stone belong to soldiers from the town: fathers, brothers, daughters, people who gave their lives for their country. Every year on Memorial Day, the whole town gathers there. Veterans in uniform salute, children place flowers, parents hold back tears. People don't just come to look, they come to remember. For the people in this town, the memorial isn't just history, it's family, it's pride, it's a promise to never forget. But not everyone sees it that way, and one mistake would soon shake the whole town to its core. Hunter was 17, and thought he had life all figured out. He lived in the same small town his whole life, but he didn't care much for its traditions. To him, the memorial in the town square was just some old rocks with names he didn't know. He didn't understand why people cared so much. What Hunter did care about was going viral. He spent most of his time glued to his phone, making videos, chasing likes and counting followers. He wanted to be famous, not for anything big, just famous. He thought if he could get enough attention online, maybe he could leave town and never look back. His friends were the same way, bored, restless, and always looking for a thrill. They joked about how serious people got over dumb old stuff. None of them had family in the military. None of them had ever gone to the memorial events. One day, while scrolling through his feed, Hunter noticed how some people were getting millions of views just by doing wild, disrespectful stunts. Breaking things, mocking people, pulling pranks. The more shocking, the better. And then it hit him. If he messed with the town's precious memorial, everyone would notice. People would freak out. He'd get the attention he craved. He didn't stop to think about what it really meant. He just saw it as a shortcut to fame. And that's where it all began. One night, Hunter called his friends over. The streetlights flickered as they quietly gathered near the memorial. His heart pounded with excitement, and a little fear. He pulled out spray paint cans he'd bought earlier, the bright colors shining under the moonlight. "Let's make this viral," Hunter whispered. His friends nodded, half laughing, half nervous. Hunter started spraying the stone walls, scribbling over names, drawing careless shapes. The memorial looked almost sacred in the daylight, but now it was covered with paint. He laughed loudly, feeling like a rebel. Then he spotted the small bronze statue of a soldier standing guard. With a shove, he pushed it. It teetered, and then crashed to the ground with a heavy thud, breaking one of the soldier's fingers. A deep crack echoed in the still night. One of his friends gasped, but Hunter only smirked. He pulled out his phone and recorded the whole thing, his voice loud and mocking. "Wake up, this history stuff is dead." He ended the video by zooming in on a name carved in stone, partly chipped from the statue's fall, and captioned it, "Who cares about these guys anyway? History is boring." Within minutes he posted the video online. His phone buzzed non-stop. Comments poured in, some shocked, some angry, but many just sharing it fast. Hunter's follower count skyrocketed. He felt powerful, unstoppable. But deep down, something twisted in his chest, a tiny flicker of doubt he quickly pushed away. He didn't know that his reckless stunt was about to rip the town apart. The next morning, the sun rose over the small town like any other day, but something had changed. The peaceful square with the military memorial was covered in bright, disrespectful graffiti. The statue lay broken on the ground. Word spread fast. People rushed to the memorial, their faces falling as they saw the damage. Veterans stood in stunned silence. Mothers clutched their children's hands tighter. Old men wiped tears from their eyes. The news reporters arrived, cameras flashing. The story wasn't just local anymore, it was everywhere. Across the country, people were shocked that someone could be so careless, so cruel. Hunter woke up to his phone, blowing up with notifications. But this time it wasn't the cheers he expected. Instead, people called him names: disrespectful punk, heartless kid, shame on you. At school, teachers and classmates whispered. Some avoided him. The principal called him in for a meeting and gave him a suspension. Hunter tried to explain it was just for views, that he didn't mean real harm, but no one wanted to hear it. the damage was done. That afternoon, a town meeting was held. People gathered to decide what to do. Anger mixed with sadness filled the room. They weren't just upset about the memorial, they were hurt in their hearts. Hunter sat quietly in the back, realizing for the first time that his prank wasn't just a joke, it was a wound. At the town meeting, an old woman stepped forward. Her hands trembled as she held a worn photograph. She was Mrs. Thompson, a widow who had lost her only son in the war, the same war the memorial honored. Her voice cracked as she spoke. "That name, the one that got chipped," she said, pointing to the damaged stone, "is my son's, James Thompson. He was only 19. The room fell silent. Everyone looked at Hunter. Then something unexpected happened. The mayor spoke up softly. "Hunter, do you know that your grandfather served in the same war?" Hunter shook his head, confused. His mother had never told him much about her father. He only knew the stories were sad, and kept locked away. But the mayor continued. "Your grandfather's name is here too. He fought beside James Thompson." Hunter's breath caught. Suddenly the faces he had mocked, and the stones he had damaged weren't strangers. They were connected to his own family. His world shifted. He felt a mix of shock, guilt and sadness crashing over him. For the first time, Hunter understood the true weight of the memorial, not as a boring old monument, but as a memory of people who gave everything. And now, he had to face what he had done. Instead of calling the police or pressing charges, the town decided on a different way to handle Hunter's mistake. The mayor stood before the crowd and said, "Hunter will help us fix what he broke." At first, Hunter thought this was a joke, but it wasn't. Every day after school, Hunter showed up at the memorial site. Veterans and family members who had once been angry watched him quietly. Some nodded in approval, others just stayed silent. Hunter scrubbed the graffiti off the walls, repainting the stones carefully. He listened as an old veteran, Mr. Garcia, told stories about the soldiers' bravery. He met Mrs. Thompson again, who showed him her late son's medal. It was hard work, both physically and emotionally. Each name he repainted, each stone he replaced, felt like a lesson. Hunter started to feel the weight of the sacrifice and pride the memorial held. He no longer saw the memorial as old rocks, he saw faces, lives, and families. Sometimes, when Hunter thought no one was watching, tears filled his eyes. The shame and regret were heavy, but he kept going. Slowly, the town began to accept him again, not just as a troublemaker, but as someone willing to make things right. Hunter learned that respect isn't something you can fake for likes or views, it's earned through understanding, effort, and heart. On Memorial Day, the whole town gathered again at the restored memorial. The stones shone clean, the paint fresh. But something new caught everyone's eye, a small plaque added at the bottom. It was Hunter's grandfather's name. A veteran stepped forward and said quietly. Hunter didn't know who he was disrespecting before, now he does. Hunter stood in front of the crowd, his heart pounding. The weight of everything, the pain, the stories, the faces he met, came crashing down. His eyes filled with tears. For the first time, he cried openly, right there in front of the whole town. It wasn't just about the views anymore. It was about respect, honor, and remembering those who gave their lives. People watched quietly, some wiping their own tears. The anger that filled the town had softened into something else, forgiveness. Hunter's tears weren't just about sorrow, they were about change. Years later, Hunter no longer chased social media fame. Instead, he spent time volunteering with veterans and telling the story of the memorial, the story of the names, the sacrifice, and the lesson he learned the hard way. The town's military memorial still stood in the center of town, stronger than ever. It reminded everyone that history is not just about the past, it's about respect for those who came before us, the lessons they left behind, and the future we build by remembering. Hunter's mistake had broken more than stone, it broke his ignorance. And from that, he grew. Sometimes, it takes losing something important to understand its true value. That's the full story complete, based on your outline. Would you like me to now write the entire story as one continuous script, or help you with narration style, pacing, or adding suspense hooks for video retention?